Greetings, everybody! I am the Starving Martian, and this is the very first episode of Collecting the Collective, where we look at everything Borg and decide whether it should be assimilated into your collection or if you should resist, although we all know how futile that can be. Alright, this is actually my second go around with this. I posted this exact video yesterday, but it turns out my camera, cheap as it is, the autofocus doesn't actually automatically focus or focus really at all once you move it. And so anytime I pulled back, my shots got really fuzzy and ugly, and it just wasn't pleasant to look at. So I decided, the Borg insist on perfection, so shall we. And we are doing this all over again because this is, as I said, our first episode. We want to get off on the right foot, even though I'm already stuttering. So, as I mentioned last time, the Borg are one of, if not my favorite aspect of Star Trek. I'm a huge science fiction nerd, and so Star Trek, of course, is one of the things I enjoy. I watch everything from the original Trek up through the end of Voyager. Star Trek more or less ends after Voyager for me, but the Borg are one of the most serious threats in the Star Trek universe, and one that I enjoy watching no matter what's going on. So we're going to take a look at everything Borg related. I have a number of Borg figures, collectibles, items that I'll be showing off in the coming weeks, and hope you enjoy. But I figured we'd start with this guy here. This is the Borg figure from the Playmates toy line, 1992, the Star Trek Next Generation Playmates toys. And this was the very first Borg figure ever made, so I figured it'd be a good place to start. I'm not going to go in chronological order with these guys, but, if you have the number one, you start with them, why not? So, what is a Borg? If you are unaware, the Borg are an alien race. They're a humanoid race. They come from a far part of the galaxy, the Delta Quadrant. So Picard and crew on Earth hadn't met them. They didn't know they existed until a omnipotent being named Q brings them halfway across the galaxy to introduce them to the Borg, to prove to them that there's danger out there that they're unready to face. And I don't think he used the word unready because it's not a word. Anywho, so this is the backer board that our Borg came in. Backer Borg, perhaps? I don't know. And on the back, you see the other figures in the line, and you get a brief bio description of the Borg. I read the whole thing out last time, and on review, that part actually comes out kind of dry and boring. There's nothing happening on the screen, so I'll just give you a couple highlights. Average lifespan is unknown, so they don't even know how long these guys last. And it says that they believe they are creating a better social structure for the good of the universe. And that's a fascinating thing about the Borg and most really great villains, is they view themselves as the good guys. To the Borg, order and perfection are everything. We are disorganized, we are imperfect, and they can help us. They can remove our pesky personalities and our tendencies for inner fighting and chaos, and they can make us peaceful. Except for where we fly around in giant cubes and blow up our enemies. But, so they think they're doing good. It also says that each drone is specifically equipped with bionic appendages to perform specific functions, which is true. Every drone has their own duties, every drone has their own arm attachments, and that each drone has interchangeable weapons and manipulator arms. That is not true. That only holds true to the toys. Important note is very little Federation data on Borg. To date, only one Borg ship has been neutralized at a cost of over 40 Starfleet vessels. And that, of course, is a bald-faced lie, or at best an exaggeration. They're referring to the Battle of Wolf 359 in the episode Best of Both Worlds. And in that episode, 40 ships were indeed sent out, but one survived. So it wasn't over 40 Starfleet vessels that were destroyed, it was 39. So the Borg comes with several accessories. He comes with arm attachments. And you see this lovely one he's got here. This is perhaps more indicative of the Borg that you'll see in the episode. They have this huge, long attachment on their arm, and obviously the reason for that is because the actor's actual arm and hand have to fit inside of here. So the hand will come probably to about here. There'll be controls to make this bit spin around and light up and make noises and do what it does. What it does is a mystery. As I said, each one of these manipulator arms, each Borg has a different function. This guy is somewhat based on the first Borg you see aboarding the Enterprise. He's not exactly off of him, but he has a certain air to him. And in that case, the manipulator arm spun around, made little whirly noises, and was able to download info from the computers of the Enterprise and shut down certain electrical systems and things of that nature. So I imagine this thing does similar. Now you can pop this off over here, make him into a Borg amputee, which actually you'll see in First Contact. They surgically take off people's arms to replace them with this sort of thing. So that works as far as the lore of the show goes. And stand, Mr. Borg. Thank you. So you can pop that off and replace it with one of two extra arms or hands they give you. It's here. So 3-fingered mechanical claw with the spatula thumb is, let's see, I have it right here. It is a mechanical manipulator arm, and it snaps into arm socket for use during manual labor functions, specifically designed to aid in effecting repair on the Borg starship. You don't actually see many Borg in the show with two humanish hands, but if you ever do, you'll know that that one is a mechanic. One of the few that you do see with a hand like that is Hugh, who will be introduced to later. So Hugh is most likely a mechanic and engineer. The other arm attachment you get is this little doohickey. This is probably my favorite of the three. This is a bionic plasma laser and cutting arm. It snaps into arm socket for use during combat with unyielding cultures, specifically designed to destroy carbon-based life forms. That's you and me, folks. This bit here actually pivots up and down, which is pretty nice. And it just looks really Borgish and threatening and not something you want to have pointed in your general direction. The Borg also comes with the Borg action base, featuring that Borg insignia, the Borg emblem, which is an interesting emblem, and nobody knows exactly what it's supposed to mean and why the Borg would ever need an emblem. I got my theories, but we'll save that for another day. So, looks like my camera is actually functioning slightly better, so we get a better shot of the Borg full body without being all fuzzy-like. You'll see he's very mishmashed. He's not symmetrical at all, which is pretty cool. He's got two different legs, one with all his wiring and tubes, the other one without. Coming around to his back, you'll see these tubes here, which come separate. They're actually listed as accessories. They're not. They're just bits that they were too lazy to pop on. I don't know if they were too lazy. Probably just wouldn't fit in the package as well. This one here is pretty easy to get into place. This one here is a pain in the neck, and I hate it. I've glued them both into place because they have a tendency to pop loose when you move their limbs. And if you were to try to take the manipulator arm off, that one would pop off all the time. The manipulator arm, by the way, is also a pain in the neck to take off. It's just, it fits on really tight, which is good in the sense that you're not going to lose it once it's on, but to snap it off and put it back on, you feel like you're stressing the plastic, you feel like you're stressing yourself. It's not a fun experience. So my advice would be to find one you like and stick to it. One of the nice things, though, about having the three different hands is if you get like 2 or 3 of this guy, you can give each one of them a different arm and put them on your shelf together and do a little Borg army building. So okay, so let's show off this guy's articulation and see his head. His head swivels. his waist also. Mine's a bit tight because I just got him new out of a package. I used to have one of these guys years back, but I've lost him. I had his display stand. Okay, the arms, you get this good elbow, and they also rotate above the elbow. Hey buddy, give me 5. They come up at the shoulder. The legs have good knee joints. You get them in a running position. And they also come up and down. So I said this leg is slightly hindered by the tubes, but it's not too bad. And I imagine being a Borg, your movement would be hindered by the tubes anyway. The feet are in this position where it's always on this angle, this tilt. So you have to make him stand just so. But he stands pretty easily on his own. And if you have any problem standing him in the position you want, you simply plug him into the Borg base. So that's not a problem at all. This guy, in my opinion, is very, very well engineered. Details on the face are not quite as detailed as later toys would be, but this was 1992. Still, the point comes across. I think face looks really good. So look a little bit old, a little bit worn down. He's got tubes running into his cheeks. He's got that classic gray Borg lipstick. And he's ready to party. Alright, price-wise, because I am a collector on a budget, and so the things I collect tend to be relatively inexpensive. And that's one of the things I like about collecting the Borg, is that 90% of what you're looking at is easily affordable. And these guys are super affordable. I picked mine up for about $2 plus shipping. Shipping was $4. So yeah, $6 got me this figure. And that's why I said that if you want to army build this guy, it's perfectly a goal you can achieve, because you could pick up multiple at a time if you wanted. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on eBay. I recommend buying them off of eBay because there's Borg that look very similar to him. There's Borg. There's one in Wave 2, which we'll be seeing eventually. That's just got a different arm and whatnot. And that's actually the one I thought I was ordering. I ordered him off of Amazon. And that's the picture they showed. They sent me the Wave 1 instead, which is perfectly fine because I needed them both. I was just ordering that one because it was cheaper. But if you want to know which Borg you're getting, I would order off of eBay, where they actually show you the picture of the specific toy that you're bidding on. So, Borg from Playmates 1992. Assimilate into your collection or resist. I definitely suggest you assimilate this guy into your collection. He's a great starter Borg for any Borg collection. Or if you just have a Star Trek collection or a sci-fi collection, you just need one Borg for your shelf, he's a really good Borg for that too, because he's generic enough. He could be any Borg from the next gen era. And he just has that good classic Borg look to him. I like this guy. I highly recommend him. I think you'll like him as well. Alright, so this has been the Starving Martian. Next time we will take a look at a Borg from Star Trek First Contact and see how the Borg changed over the years. But until then, we'll catch you later. Keep watching the skies.